Greetings fans, friends, and family. Your Crafty Diva Cat here with another Works in Progress video. This one is a needlepoint piece. It's a Christmas stocking by Dimensions, and this one is called the Santa and Toys stocking. Give you a bit of a close-up on the pattern. Now, a few years ago, as some of you know, our house burned down, and the next Christmas, because we didn't have the stockings we'd grown up with, I made my husband and I needlepoint stockings from kits just like this one. And since we're in the process right now of adopting some kids, I wanted them to have stockings that matched ours, so I picked up a couple of kits this past spring in the after Christmas sales. If you shop after Christmas sales, you're going to get phenomenal bargains on these things, let me tell you. I picked up this kit for my total price after all the discounts and coupons that I had was about $6. Now you're going to find these anywhere from $25 to $50 during regular seasons. So great time to shop for Christmas stuff, always the after Christmas sales. And don't forget the online merchants. I actually got this one from Hirschners.com during their after Christmas sales and got a fantastic deal. So I'll have a link to Hirschners. They don't have it on sale anymore because it's getting close to the season for Christmas again, so you'll have to pay a little bit higher price, but if you take a look at the kit, it's a lot of fun and great to work. So like some needlepoints, this has not only a painted canvas but a chart. So if you haven't worked with needlepoint before, the charts are a little different than counted cross stitch. They look almost more like stamped cross stitch charts. So this is what you're going to be looking at, and there is a symbols chart just like with counted cross stitch that tells you what each of the different colors or patterns within the spaces mean. And it's not so tricky. I mean, it looks a little bit on here when you look at the painted canvas. Now this one's mostly finished at this point. So as you can see, there's a lot of it that's actually worked in already, but over here it's not. And so you can see how the canvas is painted, and you can just match it up with your pattern and use it as a guide to figure out which colors go where. And sometimes with a painted canvas it can be extra tricky because the colors are really close to each other, but you'll find this color guide over here. So if you're trying to figure out whether this color, especially in areas where there's lots of similar colors, like over here in the beard and the hair, you can just pull your little section over, hold the painted canvas up next to the area that's in question, and that makes it much easier to figure out exactly what you're dealing with. So this is done with both floss and wool. Most of them are done with just wool, but this is also done with floss. And like most Dimensions kits, you're going to get these funky little dividers where everything is already sorted for you so you don't have to do any sorting. I am almost done with this and I have tons of floss left over, as you can see. So that's not a problem with this kit. It does give you yarn, but that's only for creating the hanger for the stocking that you hang it by. And then I'm going to have some extra techniques on the finishing of this to talk about how I finish stockings, which is a little bit different to make sure they're extra protected and extra secure. It also comes, the colors that you use the most, or that there's the most of, come in these little bundles like this with a tag to ID them, just like that. So this was okay, but a thing to keep an eye on with this is as you pull the floss out, this has almost like a zip strip has, it tightens, but it's just cardboard, so you have to be careful. Keep tightening it as you work. I didn't at first with this because I'd never dealt with these little bundles before, and I had a couple of tags come loose. Now luckily for me it was one red and one blue, so I was able to easily figure out where they went because it also has the color swatch on here for what it is. But you could run into trouble if I had had a bunch of my grays come off at once. I would have been in a really not good situation. So make sure you keep pulling that little tab through. On the back you can see it works just like a zip strip does, and it has little ridges that hold it in place. Keep pulling it through, tightening it as you work. As you pull out a couple of strands, you're going to want to tug it in another notch just to keep your little tags in place so you don't lose track. So this is a really fun kit to work. It worked up really fast. Needlepoint works up, I always say, twice as fast as cross stitch because you're only doing continental stitch. Usually you're only going in one direction. and it also usually has significantly less in the way of backstitching. Obviously you're going to backstitch on the name and some of the details. It comes with a font directory to do the name across the top. But in general, you're going to do a lot less backstitching, and so it takes a lot less time. For me, that's always a plus because I always have new projects that I want to work on. So the Dimensions Santa and Toys stocking coming together really beautifully. Hasn't taken me very long to make a lot of progress on it. I haven't spent a lot of hours of work on this. It just came together really quick. Now, I don't use a hoop for working needlepoint, but it can stretch out of place. A lot of people recommend you using a frame. What I do is I hold small sections like this. If you can see on the back, I have my middle finger alongside my first finger and my ring finger alongside my thumb. That allows me to hold a small section very taut, just as a needlework frame would, but it allows me to move around more easily from section to section, and that's always important when you're doing something that has a lot of small areas of color like this does, because you'll run into colors that you only have a few stitches of here and there, and you'll be constantly trimming your thread, which is already taking time, and restarting it. You don't want to also move your frame or hoop around when you're doing that. So for something like this, I find that just holding it, unlike most cross-stitch cloths, it won't pull out of shape enough that you need a frame if you can just hold it taut with one hand. And I will have more on this and on how to finish up these stockings so that they stay extra secure and so that the stitches don't come out with repeated wear in the second video in the series, so keep an eye out for that. For more tips, tricks, techniques, product reviews, and pattern reviews on needlepoint and other techniques, please check out Crafty Diva Cat on Facebook and Twitter. You can also check me out on Pinterest now. I'll have a link down below in the information section for this video. As always, thanks for watching and happy crafting.